Okay, everybody, this is a video designed to get you started with your final still life painting and using watercolors. And we posted a video on getting set up to do that. And you then went through the videos and did your practice, where you got some practice working with the pencil and drawing out the cup and having some practice with the wet and dry watercolor techniques. Well, now it's the main event, and I want you to find some objects that you can arrange on a table and draw out first in pencil before you do any watercoloring. Draw it out on your paper, okay? And that's what you see here. If you are wondering, well, what should I draw? There's a lot of different things. We've looked at some examples in class of potted plants, of a bowl of fruit, of a vase of flowers. These are all common and very popular forms of still life painting. And for purposes of this video, I have a bowl of fruit that I put together. Some oranges, a couple limes, and an apple. And I put it in this glass container. And that's what I'm going to go with. But if you have fewer options and not quite sure, you can do bottles, glasses, cups arranged in a certain way on a table, and that is just fine. There's something that is an inanimate object that you can put in front of you in a place where it's easy to draw. Pick something that you're comfortable drawing. The degree of difficulty is up to you. If you feel ambitious and you want to do a full-on um, uh, bouquet of flowers with lots of different color and lots of detail, that's great. If you don't have things like that around the house and just want to do some cups or some containers or things like that, that's fine too. Once you get that um, object or objects, and I showed you what I was doing, the next step is to have it in front of you, right in front of you. And that way you can draw it from uh, an observational point of view. Okay, so you take your paper, and this is my paper here, and with pencil, you're going to start drawing out those objects. Now, when we did the cup, we practiced drawing that oval, and that's a good thing to do and get that ellipse shape going. And then you can draw the sides of it, and I won't go through the full review, but that's maybe a thing that you could do. And then you could have, maybe there's other containers, maybe there's a taller glass right here and it goes straight down, and it overlaps and behind this other cup, and you could do another one over here, and maybe this one's kind of straight, rectangular shaped, and so you're drawing straight lines for that one. And put together your composition. That's what we mean when we say composition, is how you're all putting it all together, how you're laying it out, where you are putting your objects on the paper. Okay? So for mine, I'm going to be doing that bowl of fruit that I showed you. And so I'm going to turn over and get a fresh sheet of paper. And again, I would say start with pencil, start lightly, and just get the basic shapes down. Now for me, it's going to be a lot of drawing of ovals. So you can draw out lightly, of course, and then I've got my apple here. You guys can't see what I'm drawing. I haven't quite mastered how that's going to work, but there's that. Then we got the lime here. The nice thing about what I chose, I think, is that there's a lot of colors that are going to be fun for me to mix and use in this. And depending on where you're working, you will find that you might see some shadows. And I'll get into that when I do my next video on painting the objects and how that all comes together. But then I've got an orange back here. But within those shadows, the light and shadow, if you have a lamp shining on it like I do, it creates some light and dark areas. So for example, as I draw this out here, and then it comes around like that, and then the bottom comes down like this, and then back up to the other side. And that's why I do it lightly, because I definitely am going to make some mistakes, and I want to adjust that line. That was a little too narrow, so I did it lightly so I can, especially when you're doing watercolor on top of this, you don't want to see all sorts of dark pencil marks. But then within the fruit, I can account for certain shadows that if the light source is coming from this direction, then this side of the fruit is going to be lighter in color. So in this case, I'll mix up a yellow green. And then on this side, it's not catching that light. It's like when you see the moon, part of the moon in the sky, and that's going to be darker. And I could lightly give that some of that. You probably want to not go very dark there either. You want to let the paint create that darker value, okay? And then I can start adding in, or just with pencil, like, okay, I'm going to put a little shadow right here where it's going to be a little darker, bouncing off of this one to that piece of fruit. And you can start, when you get into painting, you can start doing that. Now, for me, it didn't take me long to draw this out, but that's the first step. Take as much time as you need to get that drawn out successfully. And then after this, I'll have a video showing you how you get going with painting your watercolor still life.